Welcome, welcome. Just waiting for our guest to arrive. Let me see here. I'm gonna invite him in. Let me get his there we go. Just an invitation. How you doing today? I don't know if you are in the California area, but it's been quite a chilly day, so I have been wrapped up in my sweater and my sweats because it's been gray and miserable, and I didn't realize it'd be so often gray and miserable, and when you move to California. I'm so excited to start digging into today's episode and get everything just get everything started. Well, we're waiting, Chris, Christopher, do you have any questions? Anything you want to chat about before Scott hops on and we get going? Scott today is our editor for the Sovereign of Death series, and it's pretty awesome because we get to hear some insight about just to get to hear some insight. Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry, I thought I saw a notification. We'll just get to hear some insight about what it's like being a film editor and what it was like kind of editing behind the scenes and everything, which is always so interesting to me because I love those behind the scenes videos and just seeing how everything is so put together, because before acting, I never really thought about what that was like. I never really considered it, and especially with animation, like being a voice actor, you want to know what happens behind the scenes and you want to be friendly. You want to get to know everybody within the industry. So this year I really got to learn, even just like by watching documentaries about like how much goes into animation and storyboarding and everything. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. Let me see here. Boop. I have some questions like, how do you get into voice acting, and is it possible to do voiceover work outside? Yes. Oh yeah. I feel like especially since the pandemic, I've talked to agents and directors before that said, if you asked me before the pandemic, I would have told you no. But yes, it is 100% possible to get involved in voice acting. I mean, personally, I've been able to make a lot of friends in Los Angeles that are voice actors and everything, but have I done anything that's required me to be in studio yet? No. They've always had the option of Zoom, or, as long as you have a good studio, you'll be all set. If you're interested in getting into voiceover, you can always go to D. Bradley Baker has a site called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. I'm going to put it in the comments. I want to be a voiceactor.com. There we go. I don't have like the actual hyperlink to it. I want to be a voiceactor.com. And voiceover camp is another spot that I highly recommend because it's so important going into voiceover. It's so important when you go into voiceover knowing the right coaches and everything, because if you get the wrong coach, then they could really lead you down the wrong path. So voiceover camp is a spot that I've been training with. It's it's a spot where it's one of the few affordable spots with active industry actors. I think like for $110, it's an hour session. Oh, here we go. Hello, Scott. Hold on, let me invite you in. Okay, thank you. Let's just say I'm thinking I'm planning on pursuing. Oh, yes, that's awesome. Yeah, 100%. So, my handle is Vox Infinity. So if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot it my way. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
All right, how are you?
Good, thanks. All right. We were just chatting about voice acting and stuff like that. So everybody say hello to Scott. He is our editor for Sovereign of Death.
That is me. Hello.
Are you in the LA area by any chance?
I am actually, yeah. I'm in a Hollywood-ish area, sort of.
Okay, so you've seen the rain then going on.
I have. It's very enjoyable. I ran outside it earlier. It was great.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
So just delving in here. So we're just gonna ask you a few questions, feel like behind the scene questions, because personally I love learning about behind the scenes and everything. So What was your overall experience like, you know, being like behind the scenes, like editing the Sovereign of Death series without getting too spoilery past episodes 1 and 2?
Ooh, it was a lot of fun. There were some really long days for some episodes in there. Without getting too in the weeds on the post side of things, but no, it was really a lot of fun at the end of the day, just because doing a lot of the sound work and the editing in general is really just fun to do. But there's also I did some additions to some of the character artwork and stuff like that for the
Oh.
episodes here and there.
Mhm.
Like at the end of episode 2, if I'm hoping people have seen it by now.
Oh
But
yeah, you're good too. Yeah, you're good to talk about it.
all
Yeah.
right, well, the ending there, with the whole heart out of the chest thing. Yeah, that was stuff that I added to the character art because I thought it would just be fun. So that
Oh
stuff was
wow.
really fun to do. Um, but yeah, that's stuff like that was probably my highlight for working on the whole first season. Just creating a bunch of different variations of the artwork or adding different things to make it a little bit more fun and entertaining while we're watching and listening to everything going down.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my goodness. Oh, hello, Jeff. Hello, everybody. This is Scott. He is our editor for Sovereign of Death. So if anybody has any questions or comments about, you know, like what's it like working on behind the scenes and stuff. So, so what's it kind of like in the day of like, you know, like what's it like in the day, like a day in the life kind of thing? Because you said it is long hours. So,
Yeah, editing is long hours no matter what you're working on. Some things are longer than others, but if you're going through, in this case, it's 5 different cameras most of the time for the footage, and sometimes you're all on screen at the same time, and sometimes it's just one-on-one takes, and just choosing which angles you want to use and when you want to go to those close-ups.
mm,
Uh, Figuring that out takes a while, just in general, but sorting through it all takes a long time too. It's every episode, I think, for most of season 1 is probably about an hour and a half, but the recordings are like 2 hours, sometimes longer. So it's a lot to go through. It's a lot to go through, basically. Oh, hi, Jared.
I
Hi.
was about to say, hi, Scott. I love you. I'm like, do you know this person?
I do. I do. He's
Jeff
a very
says,
talented composer.
oh, Jeff says, how do you contain the chaos of these nut jobs?
It's tough. There's definitely stuff that's been left on the cutting room floor that are fun outtakes or bloopers that I'm sure at some point will pop back up. Um, but that would definitely be containing some of the chaos because sometimes tangents run on a lot longer than they do in the actual episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember which episode it was. I just remember there was a section of episode that I cut out from the recording that was about 20 minutes where it was just nonsense for almost 20 minutes straight before they got back to the game. It was funny, but it wasn't relevant to the episode.
It was funny, but it wasn't relevant. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of banter can sometimes happen
Oh,
in
yeah.
tabletop games. So yeah, especially with me, I get distracted all the time. So,
These things happen. These things happen.
um, oh, hello, everybody. Hello, new people joining in.
Oh,
Um,
I know Sean. What's up, Sean?
oh, you know, Sean. So, how long have you been an editor for?
I mean, as long as I've been making movies or shorts, I've been editing. So I don't know, most of my life, I guess. I'm not going to try to figure out how many years, if I'm being honest, because that would take entirely too much time. Let's just say most of my 30 some odd years of life, I have been editing. What?
Jerry,
Oh yeah. Jared.
your friend's trolling you on here.
I guess.
It's all good. It's all good. Hey, they're tuning in, having a good time. That's fine by me.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
So, getting into the second episode here, this was a pretty pivotal point because we mentioned earlier, you know, I mean, Nightingale Switchblade was my favorite character, and Carmen knows. I mean, I know he's not here, but I know he's going to be watching this back. Carmen,
Yeah.
but you made me upset when you on the live Nightingale Switchblade. So you will be answering for your crimes. I don't care when you come on here, even if it's literally we're like 4 seasons down. You're gonna answer for your crimes, Carmen. So that's like the highlight of what I remember from that episode because I
Yeah,
so much, and then at the end, I'm just like, and then
pretty sure that's, I think, Tiberia. Is that the better name's first appearance? Our red dragon enemy
yes,
foe. Yeah.
our half dragon, um, and then Martin Money committing arson, like lighting all of the illegal magic on fire. Hello, Sage of Magic. Martin Money just arson.
Yeah. Martin Money causes a lot of mischief through the course of this season. It's not necessarily spoilery, but
No, that's not really. That's I mean, honestly, that should have really just made itself known within like the first episode too. Oh,
oh.
that's a good question. How long have you been playing tabletop games, and what's your favorite class?
I think the first time I played a tabletop game, I was 13. I didn't play consistently after that for a long time, and I got back into it probably 7 or 8 years ago. Um, Played a lot of D&D and variations with different game systems. And I guess in D&D, my favorite's probably, I don't know. I usually wind up playing a tiefling rogue 90% of the time, so that's probably it.
Is he the easiest person to edit? You know what? Well, Scott has not edited me because I am not in the first
I,
season of Sovereign of Death.
I actually have not.
Yeah, but no, I probably wouldn't be. Just gonna be flat out honest right here. It's just saying.
I guess we'll see. You never know.
In the future, you never know. Stay tuned for that, Jeff. Stay tuned for that. So, for everybody just tuning in, this is Scott. This is our editor for Sovereign to Death. So, if anybody has any editing questions or tabletop questions, I mean, me personally, I haven't done tabletop since high school, and we just kind of went for it. We didn't really do anything much of the rules at all. Didn't really pay attention to that because we were just in high school. We didn't care, so I haven't really gotten into the logistics of actual editing questions.
Premiere. I learned on Final Cut, but then they made Final Cut 10, and I don't know how anybody else feels about it personally, but I feel like it's several steps backwards because it's just iMovie now. But yeah, Premiere's good. I like Premiere.
Oh, okay. So you've tried Final Cut. So do you edit everything? Are you a Mac? Like, do you edit on Mac?
Windows, Mac. I can edit on either. You can get the programs on either. It's all good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have Final Cut. I don't really see much of a difference compared to iMovie personally.
Yep.
Like, especially for the price. I mean, mine came with it when I got the MacBook, but I don't think I would ever go out of my way to buy it because they're just no different.
Final Cut 7 was great. Final Cut 10 is trash. And Premiere's the next best thing.
Yeah, good things about Premiere. Also, I've heard good. I don't know if you've heard about LumaFusion.
I have not, but maybe I'll check it out.
It's a mobile. It's like a mobile editing app, I think. Yes, like on the go, and I've heard it's pretty good. But
I rarely edit on the phone, but maybe I'll check it out and see if it's worth it.
yeah, I don't do anything fancy, so whenever I have to edit, I edit on the phone, and I have like this old dusty program that's like, I don't know, I've been using it for a while and it needs to change. So Premiere just needs a perpetual license again.
That's fair. I mean, everything is basically subscription based now, so we'll see if that ever happens.
Gets me so mad.
We can hold out hope, though.
Fingers crossed, but I've heard DaVinci Resolve is great too. Ooh,
it's not bad. It's not bad. Not my favorite, but it's not bad.
Okay, I've never heard of DaVinci Resolve.
It's good for quick color and some quick effects that you might not have access to in Premiere. And it's usually used for color in general. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question too. Do you listen to music while you edit? And if yes, what music?
It depends. Sometimes yes, especially if it needs music to go with it or some kind of temp score to help get me in the headspace for it. And other times no. As weird as it sounds, sometimes I just throw on television shows in the background while I edit things, which confuses people because they're like, "How do you pay attention in editing?" I'm like, I don't know. I do though.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I can throw something on, but it has to be something that I've seen like plenty of times before, because then I'm gonna want to tune in and listen. But other than that, yeah, I can't. I mean, maybe music every now and then. It depends, because then I'll get distracted. I get distracted easily. So if you couldn't tell.
All right, Jared. All right, take it easy.
Sorry, Juice. He's asking good questions. Um, do you have specific templates and plugins used to speed up the editing process? Ooh.
Not so much, because every project's a little bit different, so you can't really have a template unless it's something that's consistent. Like if I've got 12 episodes, then I can try to create a template for that first episode that maybe is useful across the rest. And sometimes that is what I can do for things like Sovereign of Death, where we have a lot of UI or graphics and stuff that are going to be used the entire time. Then yeah, that's easy stuff to set up and works in your best interest to do so. But um, nothing super specific or regular. It really comes down to what I'm working on at the time and what the project's needs are while I'm working on it.
Hmm.
So, got to be adaptable.
So do you work from home like all the time? Like do you work like
I
20?
do actually. I didn't used to before the pandemic times, but now that's pretty much all I do exclusively, which works out.
Yeah.
Um, I do a lot of freelance stuff, and I also edit in my day job for one of the bigger companies doing assistant editing work. It's a lot of reality TV that's it's fine, but it's not my favorite thing, but it pays the bills.
Yeah, I get that. Did you
I
build your
did kind of. So I started building my machine like a couple years ago, and it's a Windows-based desktop machine, and it's pretty good. The only problem is at the time there's a huge graphics card shortage, which caused a huge slowdown for finishing my machine and my build. And I've been waiting for reasonably priced ones ever since. But I also started a job with bigger company, and they gave me a pretty high-powered laptop, so I've been using that quite a lot and plugging my big monitor into it instead, since
so
it's pretty beefy.
so what's an editing rig?
Oh, it's just like a really high-powered machine for editing. It just making a computer. You're just making a
Oh,
computer specifically for editing.
oh.
Um, Really ridiculous graphics cards or high RAM, especially depending on what you're going to run or what you think you're going to run into. Um, but hey, you know, it is what it is, and eventually I will have my actual machine fully finished when the graphics cards are a little less ridiculous to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Jared, what's your favorite reality show and why? Is it The Bachelor? I don't undersell you have a sexy computer.
Uh, I don't have a favorite reality show, and the ones that I have personally gotten to work on are shows that I didn't even know existed before I started working on them, which is also confusing. So I don't know. I don't have a favorite reality show. And I guess my computer is sexy. Thanks, Jared. Uh,
Only fans with actual fans inside.
Good God.
Oh, now I need to do this
This
computer.
guy. What a cut up.
So the chip shortages are so brutal. Yeah. I
Yep.
my friend's in like cybersecurity, and he like builds his own computers and stuff like that. He's very very techy. I don't know half the things he's talking about, but he has been talking about the shortages and how, I mean, it's been going on since like pandemic time.
It's been a few years. Yeah, the shortage has been ridiculous. There's like a wait list in most places where you can buy graphics cards too. It's like, oh, as soon as it's on the market, we'll let you know.
So how much does like a graphic card, rough like ballpark estimate?
It depends on what you need. Um, right now, because of the shortage, they're like, if you can get one, I think the cheapest one I saw was like 1,200, and that's not even a good card necessarily. Yeah, it's been bad. I haven't like studied or looked in a little bit, to be fair, but I don't think it's gotten better.
But the shortages affect everything. Oh yeah, definitely including cars. It's been cars for a while, and it's expected to keep going until 2024.
Yep.
Wow, that's ridiculous. So
What can you do?
working from home. I mean, I'm working from home too. I mean, if I'm not doing this, I'm like a freelancer as well. So um, so it's been like this for you since the pandemic. You said
Pretty
working from
much, yeah.
yeah. So do you have any advice for other people that work from home or like trying to like combat like it can be pretty stagnant. I mean, even for me, I find like I stepped outside today and I was like, whoa, this is forest. Like, so do you do anything to make sure that you kind of like remember to live and like not get kind of like sucked into the void, especially
Ah,
editing?
I'm trying to. I haven't done a very good job of it, but I'm trying to do a better job of it lately. I've gotten out of the house more in the last couple of months than I have probably in the last year overall in general. So I'm trying. I'm trying. My tip is to um, put shoes on even if you don't have to go anywhere, because it'll trick your brain into getting you at least a little bit more active than you probably would have been before.
True, that's very true.
You're more ready to do stuff. You're like, oh, I guess I can go outside. I don't have to put my shoes on. They're already on, which is helpful. So
How do you balance being a cat dad while working from home? Oh, you have a cat?
I have a couple of cats, yeah, and I balance it by doing my best to ignore their shenanigans while I work, which is hard to do sometimes because one of them does like to sit on my shoulder, and that can be fun until he gets to slapping me in the face, and then it's less fun.
Are they like I mean, I've noticed with cats, I don't have my own, but I've watched cats before, and they always want to sleep on the laptop. I thought that was just a meme or like a joke before until they actually like to sleep on it.
They definitely used to. Both of them at one point would try to, but they've been dissuaded of that quite a lot. So, and now the little one has. I caved and got him a stupid little laptop toy for cats because I thought that would help, and it did for a short amount of time. Just a short amount of time.
So the rain is yeah, yes, that's so true. I was
That's true.
literally I had to leave at the worst time today when it was like flooding and everything, but then I got told to go home. So I was like, okay, and I was spun around and then I was like, oh no, so sad. I have to be in my sweats all day. How do you take care of your mental health with all the editing madness? Asking for friends. Friend, I am your friend.
Um, taking breaks is good. Uh, Everybody, I don't know some people have specific rituals. I don't have a specific ritual. I just throw stuff on or step away from the computer and go do something else instead of what am supposed to be doing for a while. That helps.
Yeah, 100%. Because, like, just like watching screens all the time, especially, I don't really do video editing. I do like graphic editing and stuff like that.
Mm,
And even with voiceover, I'm stuck in the closet the whole time. So it's just
yeah.
your eyes hurt and you kind of forget that you're a human being after a while.
Yeah, regular stretch breaks, that helps. Yeah, I don't know. Just leave your computer as often as you possibly can
Mhm.
when you can. That's the best advice I can give. That's really it. That's all I got. I got nothing more helpful than that. I guess you could be drunk the entire time, but I don't think that's gonna be
Help.
supremely helpful. It might be great for Fridays, but the rest of your week's probably gonna be shot. So maybe don't do that. Beyond that, yeah, just take regular breaks and try not to stare at a screen all day. That's all I can say.
Rendering.
Rendering. Sometimes, yeah. The better your machine gets, the less rendering will cause you problems. So that's always helpful. But I mean, on season one, before my machine build, my exports, each episode I think took about 18 to 20 hours to export. So, which was not something we knew until we went to export, and we're like, "Oh, this is terrible. This is taking entirely too long." But now we've gotten that down to a much shorter export time. Now we're down to 5 hours an episode, so that's way better.
That's way better. Wow.
Sometimes three, depending on the episode. So yeah, progress.
Progress. Hey, a lot of progress. Wow. All right.
We've definitely had our fair share of rendering issues, though, where I think season one, episode 8, crashed on export about 20 times. So that was a lot of days of waiting for just hours and hours for export to fail, and then you scream for a few minutes and restart it, and then walk away because you have no choice. So yeah, definitely a little PTSD from rendering, but like I said, it's gotten better. It's gotten better.
How do you handle being so effing awesome?
I think that is a subjective opinion that you're entitled to. But for me, I would like to stay grounded personally and say that I'm all right. I'm just all right.
I'm just all right. Being so effing all right.
Just okay. I'm a just okay.
No, it's not Squirt.
Well, that's not my name.
I'm not sure who Squirt is.
If you're gonna scold me, at least get my name right.
Now you're reminding me of, oh wow, I love how many editors we have in here, because I don't even know what y'all are talking about.
Rendering can be a terrible, terrible thing.
So it's like rendering, like loading, like when it kind of like compiles together too, say?
Yeah, processing so you can watch it is rendering, but also rendering on export. So if you're sometimes your computer's just slow and you're trying to render something to watch it back, and it just takes forever to do that, and you get it to play smooth. You're like, great, now I have to make a tiny change, and now it has to re-render again, and now I have to wait all over again.
Oh, man.
So sometimes that's what you're dealing with. Sometimes it's just rendering an episode out or just getting something exported, and it just repeatedly crashes forever until you figure out one tiny thing that you can change to make it somehow not crash. And you never really know what that thing is going to be. So it's sometimes rendering is an adventure.
Rendering has
destroyed many soul. That's true.
Well, wow, you guys have had so many wonderful questions, and I'm so happy that there's been, so many editors in here that can relate, and I learned many new things today. Before we're going to wrap up, so if you guys have any final questions, I have one more final question. So personally with me, I guess, I don't know, I cannot sit for long. I can't sit for long because, when I was first onboarded for Temporary Legend, I watched the whole thing and I loved it. I just can't imagine, having to, piece everything together. So, and even then when I watch the show, I'm walking or I'm doing stuff. So, I don't know, is that a struggle for you, trying to sit still? Because it is for me.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think just in general, attention spans are shorter, whether we want them to be or not. Even my own, I'm like, I know I can sit down and watch something if I'm focused. When I'm working on something or editing something, I do find myself occasionally I'm listening to it and I'm forgetting, oh wait, you also have to watch it because you need to make things change visually. Oh crap, let me rewind 5 minutes. I forgot this wasn't a podcast. Hold on, let me go back. So there's that to contend with. Sitting for a long time, like I said, is tough. So I try to leave my computer as many times as I can in a day. Just get away from the chair and play things. Or I used to have a rule that anytime I needed to export or render something, that I had to get up and do exercise so that I wasn't just sitting and waiting for something to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it is tough. It's hard, but everybody's different. You got to figure out what works for you to help break up the monotony that can be editing. It's fun, but long hours and can be very tedious.
Mhm.
So yeah, finding your own balance is tricky
Yeah, definitely.
for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Scott, for being on here and answering like all these like amazing questions. And thank you everybody for tuning in and asking such awesome questions, especially you, Jared.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. Um, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And be sure, if you haven't already, I don't know why you're here for not, because this is our Talkback show, but if you haven't already, be sure to watch episode 2, Rituals. It's now out on our YouTube. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. And thank you again, Scott.
All right, have a good one. Thanks for having me,
Yeah.
and we'll see you everybody another time. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.